This is where I pretty much left off last time. I think after class, what I did was I just flushed out these file cabinets, and I showed two different kinds of drawer pulls here. One is a finger pull here, where you sort of stick your finger in the slot and you pull the drawer open. And then this is just a regular, I just made it just a little rectangle right here. And then, that is another kind of drawer pull. So just decide on one or the other. Don't do it the way I'm doing it here. I just kind of showing you both of them here. So if you prefer to do this kind, this is the old school, more traditional kind, or this one that has the finger pull. It's called a finger pull that goes full all the way across, and then you pull it open. Either way, okay. And I think that is pretty much it. I think we talked about everything else. So let's see. I created this afternoon a reception desk sheet. I just copied the lighting plan and then renamed it, made it reception desk. I put in two viewports here, one for the front of the reception desk and one for the back of the reception desk. And I set the scale for the viewport to 3/8 of an inch. That seemed to be a good scale. That seems to fit the size of this big sheet here. So I'm setting that to 3/8. I've got one for the front, one for the back. While I'm here, let me change this to, I'll call this my reception desk, and I'll call this the front view. And I think I said that the scale was 3/8 of an inch, so I'll make that 3/8. And let me move this. Well, actually, for this front view, I don't need a north arrow, so I'm just gonna move this out of the way. I'm gonna use it. I'll use the north arrow when I get the floor plan up here. And the one thing that you don't want when you are doing these titles is you don't want your underline to be less than the length of the actual title. So you can just click on the grip. There's a little or the click on the underline, there's a little grip off to the right, and you can just pull that out. You just want it to be, as long or longer than the title. So I'll just copy this over and put my ortho on here. And I'll call this number 2. And I'll call this the back view, I guess. Because we're looking at the back of the reception desk there. And now I need the floor plan. So let me quickly create a new viewport. And actually, I'll just make this viewport a little smaller here. And let me put this on the correct layer. And zoom in to my reception desk. There's my reception desk right there. And I'm going to set the scale of this viewport the same as I have for the other for the isometrics. So that is 3/8 of an inch, I believe. Perfect. And looks like this didn't take. So let me put this on my viewports there. Okay. So what don't I want to see here? I don't need to see any light fixtures, that's for sure. I don't need to see plants and furniture. I don't need to see ceilings or other furniture or soffits or dimensions. I just need to see my reception desk. Okay, I lost my scale, but that's okay. Let me reset it to 3/8 of an inch. And let me lock my viewport. Okay, so I've got my reception desk here. It's at the right scale, but it's a little bit the angle of it is, at that 27 degrees, right? Was that 27 degrees? Yeah, 27 degrees. It's still at that 27 degrees here. And by the way, you can see that my crosshairs here are in isometric view. So I'm gonna turn isometric drafting off. So I'm just in my regular. I get my regular cursor here. All right, so I want to rotate this view, and this is I'm going to use a command that I don't use very often, and it's called MV setup. MV as in make viewport and then setup. And it's a keyboard command, so I'm just gonna I'm in white model space, as you can see here, and I'm just gonna do NV setup, NV setup, and I get a bunch of options here, and the options are my options are popping up right here, but they also pop up down here as well. So if you're not seeing the options here, for whatever reason, just look down here in your command prompt area here, and you'll see the same options here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a line, either here or down here, either way. And then I am going to rotate my view. I want to rotate this view 27 degrees. So I'm going to click rotate view. And it's asking for a base point. And I'm just going to pick a point like right in the middle of my viewport here, just like that. And now I need to choose an angle. If I put on my polar tracking, if you remember, we have that 27-degree angle. And what I want to do is I want to rotate it down in this direction 27 degrees. So if you remember your high school geometry, if I have an angle that is running, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, etc., I'm going in this direction, those are positive angles. And if I'm going in this direction, which is clockwise, then I am using negative angles. So I'm going to go I'm going to go clockwise, and I'm going to use negative angles. So I'm going to do negative 27 degrees. And cross my fingers and hopes this works. And it didn't work.
It worked if you unlock the viewport.
Okay, so let's try it again. MV setup, align, rotate viewport, negative 27. Thank you. Whoever said that, thank you. All right. Let me double check to make sure. No, I'm not at 3/8 of an inch here, so let me double check. And now I'll lock. So, all right. So we want to rotate the view. So rotate the view. You want to unlock the viewport. There we go. This is lined up. This is looking good. Let me, while I'm here, just so I don't forget, I'm going to copy this. I'll just go straight up so everything's nicely lined up. And I'll call this plan view. There we go. Okay. So, and then I'll just move this north arrow and I'll just put it. Okay, so all right, there is our sheet is pretty much set up. I'm gonna just do a plot preview here. And so you can do a plot preview by either clicking on plot and then coming down to preview down here, or you can just click on this little button right up here. At least I have on mine, is a little plot preview right here. And if you don't have this button, I use this button frequently. If you don't have it, there's a little fly out right here or fly down. And one of the here is plot preview. So just make sure that plot preview is checked, and that way you don't have to open up plot to do a plot preview. So let me just look at this and just see how it's looking. Okay, so these lines are pretty dark right here. This actually looks good, but I think I want to make these lines here in for this little reglet here or this little reveal, I'm going to make those a little lighter. I think that's just going to look a little bit better. And maybe around the file cabinets here. Okay, so let me escape out of here and let's just do that. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these internal lines and I'm going to put them on the light layer here, a detail light. And this guy right here too, or those two. So let's do another preview here. See how this is looking. Oh, that's much better. So I like that there's a nice heavy line around the border, and then this internal stuff is just a little bit lighter. I think it just looks a little cleaner and a little easier for our contractor to read. All right, same over here. I think I'll take that, and I'm going to take just the bottom of the transaction top work surface there, and I'll put that on the light layer as well. Okay, let's see. Yep, that's much more legible. Okay, I like that. All right, let's look at the other one. So I think that everything is fine but except for this stuff here. So I'm going to take all of these internal workings here and put them on light as well. And if you're going to boy, I am just having one of those nights. Happens to us all. There we go. And then I'll just do this stuff as well. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to make these middle ones light as well. I think those would be a little better light. Just making stuff legible for my contractor. Okay, good. So let's talk about getting some dimensions in here. So first, I'm going to start with the plan. All right, if I put in dimensions here, I'm going to just plop a couple in here. Let me go to my annotate ribbon here. So if I do a linear dimension going across, uh, I'm going to get wonkiness here because my UCS is rotated, or actually it's my UCS is actually fine. It's just that my view is rotated, right? We rotated this view. So I'm not going to get clear or good dimensions here. So I can do one of two things. One, I could do a aligned dimension. So if I do an aligned dimension here, you can see that will work. If I do an align dimension here, well, that works, but my text is upside down. Normally, when we do dimensions, if I look at, well, normally if we're doing dimensions, my text is facing the other direction. But that's just problematic to me. So I'm going to erase that. What I want to do instead is I'm going to rotate this UCS 27 degrees. So I'm going to hover over my UCS symbol here, right click on it, and I'm going to rotate axis around the Z axis. The Z axis, remember, that's the axis that's coming out of the screen, that's pointing right toward us. So I'm going to click on my Z axis here, and I'm going to go 27 degrees. Now look at that. Now my UCS looks, straight. So now I can put in a regular linear dimension and it will come out just fine. Let me do a continuous here. 3.5. Well, that's fine. So those dimensions are coming out just fine. The only issue is what layer have I got these on? A detail medium. I'm going to put these on, I'm actually going to put them on their own layer. So let me just quickly open up my layer palette. I've got a whole bunch of, oh, I have an ANO DIMS ISO. You know what? I actually made this. You may not have this layer. I created this layer, ANO DIMS ISO for isometrics. And I put it on color 135. You can put it on whatever color makes you happy. And I right now it's the line weight is at 25, but I want it to be the same as all of my other dimensions. So my A anodims and my A anodims new, the line weight is 0.20. So I'm going to change this to 0.20. So I'm creating a new layer, A anodims ISO for isometrics, and it's a continuous line weight or continuous line type, and the line weight is 0.20 millimeters. Okay, so now I will put these dimensions on that layer. I should have done that before I started putting them on, but I caught it, so it's good. It's all good. All right, so got a couple dimensions there. Let's look at dimensioning our actual isometrics here. So let me go on to my A ano ISO or A ano DIMS ISO layer. And let's get a couple dimensions on. So let me go over to my annotate ribbon. I'm going to do a linear dimension, and I'm going to get this dimension here, and it's coming out fine. I have an issue with it, but at least it's coming out. And I am also let me put in another dimension here for, and this is not coming out, right? This is just coming down straight down. So what I want is a dimension to align with this angle, this angled line right here. So I will just in this instance, I will use an align dimension. Okay, so here's my issue. When you're dimensioning an isometric like this, ideally what you want, and if you look at the handout is actually laid out like this, and it is really not the way we should dimension this. What we want are these leaders to align with the lines of the object. And right now, they're not, right? They're kind of coming in like at the corner, but it's not aligning with this line and it's not aligning with this line. So I want to change that. And there is a dimension command, an editing command called dim edit. And I'm going to just type it right now, DIMEDIT. And it's asking me the type of dimension editing, and I'm going to choose oblique. And then it's asking me to select object. So I'm just going to select, I'll just start with, let me go into white model space here. That would help. All right, dim edit, oblique, and I'm going to choose this dimension here. And I can choose multiple dimensions, but for now, I'm just going to choose this one right here. All right, I'm done selecting, so I'll just hit my space bar, and now it's asking for the obliquing angle. And what it's asking is, what do I want, like this dimension leader right here, this leader line, what do I want it to align with? So I have two options. I can either align it with this line here, or I can align it with this line here. And either one would be correct. So I'm going to do them both ways just to show you. So I'm just going to start here and I'm just going to kind of like draw a line, or not drawing a line, but I'm just choosing 2 points on this line here. I'll just choose this midpoint. You can see that now it has adjusted that dimension so that the dimension extension line, this leader right here, is lining up with the line of the object. So everything is aligned that way. The other way I can do it is, let me just go dim edit, oblique. I'll choose this line here, or this dimension, then hit my space bar, and then this time I'll choose this line here. So I just want 2 points on this line, and now it has aligned this dimension with this line right here. So I'm just going to leave mine like that. Either way, whatever way makes you happy, but that is much more professional looking. That's really what we want our dimensions to look like. We want this extension line, or this leader line, to align with some line in our object. Okay, same with this guy right here. Let me go to dim edit, oblique, choose this dimension right here, and then choose the obliquing angle. So I want this one to kind of go in the same direction as this. So I'm just going to go like from here to there, and boom. It has adjusted it so that it is aligning just nicely. Now, I don't like that this dimension line and this dimension line are not coming together. This one's sticking out a little further. So I'm just going to grab this grip of this dimension line and just pull it over there, just so that everything, just lines up and it just looks a little more professional. So if I want a couple more dimensions here, let me go with a linear dimension here. And I'll just choose from here to here. I want to tell the contractor that this panel is 3/6 high, and then I have that little reveal here that's an inch. So I'll just continue up and show them that as well. Okay, so now let's just do the same thing. Dim edit, oblique, and I'll choose both these dimensions. And then the same old blinking angle. So I'll just choose this little piece of line right here, and there it has lined everything up nicely. So this just makes our dimensioning look a little more professional. So what I'd like you to do when you are working this out is I want you to use your your designer sense here and put in dimensions that you think a contractor is going to need to be able to flush out this reception desk or and this guy over here. Um, so just kind of use your best instinct. Don't necessarily follow what is on the handout because the handout is really not as complete as I'd like it to be. Uh, and just pop in some dimensions and then change their obliquing angle so that your drawing looks professional. Okay, so let's talk about text. So my goal here is to put, so some text in this here. It's the name of the company here, and I am gonna just just add some text, I guess. So I'm just gonna start with my text, this 1/8 inch text style, and I'm just gonna do single line and I'm just going to actually just draw it out here and then I'll move it into place. So I'll just start over here and it's asking me for a rotation angle, which is really going to be 0, or you can just pull out like this. And now I'm getting, oops, I do believe that my viewport is locked, but when I'm in text edit, I can zoom in like this. So even though my viewport is locked, I am zooming in. And when I'm done editing the text, I just hit escape. It popped me back to my actual, locked viewport. And you can see that the viewport is locked here. So, all right, let me do it again here. Single line of text. And I'll just call this, I don't know, Paul's Design Studio. Whatever you want. Okay, so there it is. And I'm gonna move it into place. And it's on the right angle, right? It's fitting in here, but it definitely looks wonky, right? So, but why? Why is it looking wonky? Well, it's because, like, okay, so uh, in our ISO, all of our verticals are straight up and down, right? They're all vertical. They're going straight up and down. Every single one of our lines that is vertical is running straight up and down. But for this text, our verticals are going on this an angle that's 27 degrees or whatever the heck this angle, or not 27, like a 30 degree because it's isometric. So it's either a 30 or 60 degree angle. So I want to change that. And I can do it with my properties palette. So I have my properties palette already docked. Mine is just out here. But if you don't have it there, I'm sure you know by now, you can go to View and then Properties up here. And I'm just going to select my text and and if I look at it here, so the style is 1/8, and I can change that style if I want. If I want to make it 3/16, it's going to make it bigger. And here, I'm going to dock this open here. And if I want to make it, 3/32, it will make it tinier, but I'm going to leave it at 1/8 for now. And the paper text height here is set to 1/8 of an inch. The model text height is 4 inches. That's telling me that in actuality, the height of this text, when you build this thing full scale, the height of this text is 4 inches. But there is down here obliquing, and it is set to 0. So when we are working in isometrics, we're going to work, our obliquing angle will be one of two angles, either positive 30 degrees or negative 30 degrees. It'll be one of those two angles. I guess it could be 60 degrees too, but I'll just say positive 30 or negative 30. So I'm going to make this positive 30 degrees. So I'm changing it from 0 to 30. And look at that. It has put all of my verticals are vertical now, and I can get my text in, and it looks actually okay. I just want to copy this here. And you don't have to do this, but I'm just doing this just so that you can kind of see here. What if I were to change this from positive 30, change that obliquing angle from 30 degrees to negative 30 degrees? And if I change it to negative 30, look at that. Now it looks as if it's sort of on the floor, right? So I could have like a welcome mat here that says, Paul's Design Studio on it. And that would be, it would look like it's on the floor. Or I could move this so that it, it looks like it's inlaid on the transaction top here. But I just wanted to show you that. So positive 30 on the wall, negative 30 on the floor or on the top of your transaction top, whatever you want. The only thing that I'm asking you to do is get some text in. Just put some text in and change the obliquing angle so that it either works, on a floor mat in front or on top of your transaction top or on the on this wall over here. So what if you said that's all fine and good, but I think that this text is too small. And if I click on this and I change it to 3/16, that's too big. I've lost my obliquing angle, but that's okay. When I'm using our three standard text styles, 1/8, 3/16, and 3/32, I'm limited to one of those three sizes. That one, or that one. And if I want something else, I'm kind of stuck. Well, here's the workaround. Not really a workaround. It's just it releases all of the rules that are attached to these three styles. I'm going to go down to standard. When I go down to standard, all bets are off. I can do anything. And right here, you can see that my text height here is 4. I can change it to 5 if I want, or 10, or anything that you want. Remember, this is the height of this text in real life. So when they actually build this, the height of this P here is going to be 5 inches. Let me change my obliquing angle here to 30. So it looks like it's kind of in the, and that allows me more flexibility. Now I'm saying this with a caveat. When you are working in your other classes, your systems and details, for instance, or lighting, when you are working on text, you always really, I can't even think of a reason why you would veer off one of these three textiles. But if you're doing something decorative, like I am here, that is when you can use the standard here, and that gives you flexibility. Now, what if I wanted to change the font? And again, let me just caveat here: when we have a standard font that we use for everything in all of our classes, all of our regular text, in our dimensions, everything. It's a Century Gothic. But let's just say that the logo is a different font, and I want to use a different font. So let me show you how to change fonts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new style. So I'm typing in style here. And here are my text styles, 1/8, 3/16, and 3/32. There's an annotative style here, and then there is standard, and that is what we're set to right now. So let me go over to standard, and right now it is set to Century Gothic. Now, what I don't want to do, let me reiterate this, is I don't want to change the font right here while I'm on standard. I don't want to do that. Nor do I want to ever change the font when I'm on any one of these. Just leave it Century Gothic. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new text style. So I'll start with standard because it has no limitations to it. And I'm going to go over to new, and I'm going to give it a new style. So I'm going to, because this is my logo, the signage, I'm just going to call this my logo signage, just so I know what it is. And there it is. I have a brand new text style. And now I can change the style of my logo signage to anything that I want. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna. All right, I'll go with that. That looks good. So I'm just changing my text style, and I'll click apply down here and close. And nothing's happened. So what I need to do though is change this text to that new style. So I'm going to go over here to right now my style is set to standard, and I'm going to change it to logo signage. And you can see that, well, okay, I changed it, but now I have to change my obliquing angle again. And that's fine. I'll do that. And now I have my text in a different font. So I'm showing you stuff that the other instructors are not going to show you because they don't want you to veer off of the standard Century Gothic. But there are times when, particularly with logos, you want to do a different style. So just keep the rules in mind. And that is use the style command, S-T-Y-L-E. That allows me to change my text styles. Start with standard and then create a new text style with standard as the base. Then once you have your new text style, like I'm calling mine, called my new text style logo signage, then you can play with the font. And you can, let's say I don't like that font after all, I'll go with, I don't know, this. I'm not even sure what. Well, that's going to be weird. Let's just do Gill Sans. And I'll apply and close. And look at that. It changed the font for me. Okay. So, you know, don't call it Paul's Designs. I mean, if you want to, you can, but call it your design. Give it any name that you want, any name that pleases you. Put in here. Change the font to whatever makes you happy as well, and then add some dimensions to this stuff to this and to the front desk as well, and get a couple dimensions in here as well for the back view, and you are going to be golden.